Martin, and I'm speaking from Abridge Church here in the village. Here are just some thoughts on the Gospel passage from Mark chapter 10 for this Sunday, the 17th of October. Perhaps they'll help you get ready for the service if you're coming, or they'll keep you connected to church if you are still worshipping from home. You know, it's amazing how we can be very selective with our hearing. We hear what we want to hear. We're very good at tuning out the things which we'd rather not listen to. And this seems to be what happened as Jesus walked south towards Jerusalem with his disciples. In today's story, Jesus takes another opportunity to try and prepare them for what's going to happen in Jerusalem. He's told them this at least twice before, but quite rightly, he senses they haven't yet understood. They haven't really listened. So he explains that he's God's Messiah, the rescuer, but a rescuer is going to have to die to rescue the world. Now, I know that's hard to take in, just as it was hard for the first disciples. When he gets to Jerusalem, explains Jesus, he's going to be rejected and treated terribly. He's going to end up on a cross. But this was the only way to mend what was broken in this world and broken inside us, and to put it all back together again. The worst of human nature needed to fall on Jesus, but it would not be allowed to break him. He would take it, transform it, bring it back through death to life again. That's what he said to them. But that's not what the disciples heard. To be fair, I suppose it was just too unimaginable that their Jesus, who had been so popular and performed so many miracles, who had said and done such amazing things, that their Jesus would be rejected in Jerusalem. So instead, they focused on him being a rescuer in a triumphant, victorious way. He'd be a king that conquered, a ruler that sat on a big throne, and a benevolent monarch who would put everything back together again by virtue of his authority and his power. But that's not what Jesus said. And so we have today's conversation recorded between the disciples, and particularly between the brothers James and John. In another gospel, it says that their ambitious mum put them up to asking this question, and maybe that was true. After all, they were clearly in the inner circle as far as Jesus' followers were concerned. We even read earlier in the gospel that they were on this mountain when they saw God's light shining brightly through Jesus. And when they saw him like that, he was talking with Moses and Elijah from the Old Testament. There was someone on the left and on the right. So perhaps that's where they got the idea of his powerful glory and sitting left to right of Jesus. Or maybe it was Mum who put them up to it, as I said. So this is the conversation. They asked, "Can we sit on your left and right hand when the kingdom comes?" No mention of suffering at this point. Jesus gently has to put them right and speaks to us too, because as far as this world is concerned, it is those with power and money and authority who are the ones who control everything, who have the last word. But Jesus says it's not like that in God's kingdom, in the kingdom that lasts. They and we may well reign with him one day, Jesus says, but it involves going through a baptism of suffering, which is his way of describing the cross. Now, the others overhear this conversation, and they become a bit angry that these two brothers are wanting the top places for themselves. So now Jesus talks to them all. And he makes it clear that the way of ruling and having authority that we see in the world has no place in the kingdom of God. The ones who are great in God's eyes are the ones who serve who give themselves up for others, who put others' needs before their own. And that's exactly what Jesus was going to do. In Jerusalem, over the Easter weekend, as we now call it, he was going to put us before his own life. He's going to trade his dying for our living. He was going to face the worst that we can be and come through it, so that with Jesus we can become the best we can be. Our story ends with Jesus' last attempt to try and help them understand Good Friday and Easter. He says that he has come not to be served like some powerful king, but to serve others like a slave. He's come to give his life for us. This is the way he will win the world back for God, bring everything home to God again. Every little act of service we do for another, however small, is what really counts before God and what will survive beyond this life. I wonder what sort of serving others you and I can do this day that will be an imitation of the way Jesus served us.
From heaven you came, helpless babe, entered our world, your glory there, not to be served, but to serve, and give your life that we might live. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our life as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. There in the garden of tears, my heavy load he chose to bear. His heart with sorrow was torn, yet not my will, but yours, he said. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. Come see His hands and His feet, the scars that speak of sacrifice, hands that flung stars into space, to cruel ends surrender. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our life as each other's needs to prefer. For it is Christ we're serving. This is